Admiral Korthva decided he needed to see the human vessel with his own eyes. He had read all the reports and studied all the data, but something this important required personal investigation. The future relationship between the Velkhari Empire and humanity might depend on what he discovered. Captain Lee Hyun waited nervously. In the main docking bay as the Admiral's personal shuttle connected with the Soul's Pride, had put on his finest uniform and gathered all his senior officers. This meeting would decide whether humans and Velkhari would become friends or remain enemies. The airlock opened with a soft hiss, and Admiral Korthva stepped through. He was more impressive in person than he had appeared on the communication screen. Tall and powerful, with the bearing of someone who had commanded fleets for decades. His yellow eyes were intelligent and alert. "Captain Lee Hyun," the Admiral said formally, "I have come to understand exactly what we are dealing with. Admiral Korthva, welcome aboard our ship. I hope we can resolve any confusion between our peoples." The Admiral's personal inspection began in the engine room, where Park Min-ho was waiting to explain everything about human technology. "Admiral, this is our main fusion reactor," Park Min-ho said with nervous excitement. "It is a standard design about 50 years old by Earth standards." Admiral Korthva studied the massive reactor core carefully. It was clearly built with incredible attention to detail, but the basic technology was not particularly advanced compared to Velkhari systems. "Your energy efficiency levels," he said. "Our sensors detected power output that we believed was impossible to achieve." "Yes, sir. The reactor can operate at 200% of its rated capacity when necessary. We design everything to handle much more stress than normal operation requires." Chief Technician Vorthak, who had come with the Admiral, nodded with understanding. "So the incredible energy readings were simply because your equipment is built to much higher safety standards than ours?" "Exactly right. We do not build things to just barely work. We build them to keep working when everything else fails." Admiral Korthva was beginning to understand. The humans were not hiding superior technology. They were using standard technology built to survive conditions that would destroy normal equipment. In the medical bay, Dr. Yoon Hai-wan showed the Admiral the human medical facilities. The equipment looked sophisticated but was actually quite simple in design. "Admiral, our medical philosophy is based on helping the body heal itself," she explained. "Humans have evolved very strong natural healing abilities. The medical treatments you recommended for our injured crew member," Admiral Korthva said. "How did you know they would be effective?" "I studied the biological data your people shared with us. Velkhari physiology is similar enough to human biology that our healing techniques could be adapted to work for your species." Dr. Rixtal, who had accompanied the Admiral, added his own observations. "Admiral, what we interpreted as advanced medical technology was actually just knowledge gained from living on a world where quick healing was necessary for survival." On the bridge, Kim Sora demonstrated the ship's navigation and sensor systems to Admiral Korthva. The star charts and detection equipment appeared impressive, but the underlying principles were straightforward. "Our mapping methods are based on extreme caution and multiple redundant systems," she explained. "We use many different types of sensors and cross-check all our data multiple times. But you have charted regions of space that we consider too dangerous to explore." Admiral Korthva observed, "Not too dangerous, sir. Just very hazardous. We are accustomed to operating in dangerous environments, so we develop techniques to do it safely." Admiral Korthva examined the navigation displays showing routes through deadly radiation fields and unstable stellar regions. The human charts included detailed warnings and safety procedures for every hazard. "You consider these risks acceptable?" he asked. "We consider them manageable with proper preparation," Kim Sora replied. "On Earth, we learned that avoiding all danger is impossible, so we learned to handle danger carefully instead." In the communications center, Choi Jae-min showed the Admiral the human translation and signal processing systems. What the Velkhari had thought was military encryption was actually civilian communication technology built for harsh conditions. "Our systems are designed to maintain clear communication across vast distances despite interference," Choi Jae-min explained. "The signal processing looks complex because we have to filter out cosmic radiation and stellar static." "So your military-grade encryption is actually just noise reduction for civilian communications?" asked Admiral Korthva. "Yes, sir. We learned to make our communications very robust because space interferes with electronic signals in many ways. The most important moment came when Park Min-ho demonstrated the problem that had started the entire crisis. He showed Admiral Korthva exactly how the jump drive and dampening fields had interacted to create the massive energy signature. "Admiral, observe what happens when I activate both experimental systems at the same time," he said. The energy readings on the Velkari portable sensors jumped dramatically, making the small human ship appear to be a massive battlecruiser. "Now watch what happens when I shut down the systems." The energy signature returned to normal levels, revealing the Soul's Pride as it really was. A modest exploration vessel with a small crew. The harmonic resonance between the two systems amplified our energy output by 500%. Park Min-ho explained. "We had no idea your sensors would interpret this as a weapons signature." Vorthak stared at his instrument readings in amazement. So the super weapon that threatened our entire empire was actually an accidental feedback loop between experimental systems? "Yes, sir. Just an unexpected interaction between safety equipment and new technology." Admiral Korthva felt a mixture of relief and embarrassment. The greatest military threat the Empire had ever detected was actually a minor engineering problem. But he needed to understand something more important about these humans. "Captain Lee, your crew's physical and mental capabilities. Our analysis suggests abilities far beyond those of normal species," Dr. Yoon Hai-wan answered for her captain. "Admiral, humans evolved on what we call a death world. Very high gravity, dangerous weather, deadly animals, diseases, and natural disasters. Our ancestors survived by becoming extremely tough and adaptable." "How tough are humans compared to other species?" Admiral Korthva asked. "We can survive in environments that would quickly kill most life forms. We recover from injuries that others cannot heal from. We adapt to hostile conditions that others find impossible to endure." "But you are not a warrior species," Admiral Korthva noted. "No, sir. We are a survivor species. We prefer to build and create rather than fight and destroy." Captain Lee Hyun decided it was time to address the real issue directly. "Admiral, I believe I understand what happened here. You saw our capabilities and assumed we were hiding advanced military technology. But we are not hiding anything. We are simply different from other species you have encountered." "Different in what way?" "Most intelligent species probably evolved on worlds with stable climates, predictable environments, and manageable challenges. Earth was never like that. It forced us to become strong because weakness meant extinction." Admiral Korthva sat down in one of the human chairs, feeling the weight of understanding. The scope of the misunderstanding was enormous. "So when our sensors detected your energy readings, your physical capabilities, and your engineering standards, we assumed you had developed superior technology. But we had not," Captain Lee Hyun confirmed. "We had simply developed the ability to make standard technology work reliably, under impossible conditions." Han Ji-woo joined the conversation with a cultural perspective. "Admiral, in human philosophy, we believe that necessity is the mother of invention. We did not invent better technology. We invented better ways to use the technology we had." The inspection continued for several more hours, with every system on the Soul's Pride telling the same story. Humans were not technologically advanced compared to other species. They were environmentally advanced. They had learned to survive where others could not. When the inspection was finally complete, Admiral Korthva gathered his senior staff on the Soul's Pride's bridge for an important announcement. "After thorough investigation, I have reached my conclusion," he declared. "The human vessel represents no threat to the Velkari Empire, not because they are weak, but because they are not our enemies." Commander Velkan looked puzzled. "Sir, what about their superior capabilities?" "Their capabilities make them valuable potential allies, not dangerous enemies. They have solved survival problems that we never knew existed." Dr. Rixtal spoke up with enthusiasm. "Admiral, their adaptation techniques could be incredibly valuable to the Empire. They might be able to help us explore regions we have always considered impossible to reach." "My thoughts exactly," Admiral Korthva agreed. "Captain Lee, I believe our two species have much to offer each other." Over the following hours, Admiral Korthva and Captain Lee Hyun worked together to create the framework for the first human-Velkari diplomatic agreement. The humans would share their survival techniques, engineering principles, and environmental adaptation methods. Admiral Korthva's massive flagship, the Void Hammer, came out of hyperspace with 36 other warships. The Third Fleet had arrived, and the Soul's Pride now faced the largest military force the Velkari Empire could gather on short notice. Captain Lee Hyun looked at his tactical display and felt his heart sink. What had started as a simple diplomatic mission was now a confrontation with an entire alien armada. "Captain, the flagship is sending us a message," Choi Jae-min reported. His hands were shaking as he worked at his controls. "Put it on the main screen." Admiral Korthva appeared on the display. He was tall and imposing, with dark blue scales and bright yellow eyes that seemed to look right through the human captain. When he spoke, his voice was deep and commanding. "Human vessel, I am Admiral Korthva of the Third Fleet. You will submit to immediate inspection. Any attempt to activate your weapons will result in your complete destruction." Captain Lee Hyun stood up slowly. He had been trained as a diplomat before becoming a ship captain. He knew how to handle tense situations, but this was beyond anything he had ever faced. "Admiral, I am Captain Lee Hyun of the Earthship Soul's Pride. We are here on a peaceful mission to establish friendly relations with your empire. We have no weapons that could threaten your fleet." "That will be determined by our inspection," Admiral Korthva replied coldly. "Prepare to receive our boarding teams." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Soul's Pride in worried silence. "Captain, what should we do?" asked Kim Sora. Captain Lee Hyun thought carefully. They were completely outnumbered and outgunned. Fighting was impossible. Running was equally hopeless. Their only choice was to cooperate and hope the truth would save them. "We let them inspect our ship," he decided. "When they see what we really are, this misunderstanding will be resolved." Lieutenant Commander Han Ji-woo, the Soul's Pride's diplomatic officer, had been quiet during the crisis. Now she spoke up with an idea. "Captain, I think we should prepare complete cultural and technological information packages. If we can show them our history and our society, maybe they will understand we are not a threat." "Good thinking. Work with Choi to put together everything we have about Earth and human civilization." Han Ji-woo and Choi Jae-min worked quickly to gather information about human culture. They included historical records, artistic achievements, scientific discoveries, and philosophical beliefs. They wanted to show the Velkari that humans were a peaceful species interested in knowledge and friendship, not war and conquest. But when this information reached the Velkari analysis teams, it had the opposite effect of what the humans intended. Dr. Rixtal was reading through human historical records when he made a discovery that frightened him. According to the data, humans had fought massive wars involving millions of soldiers. They had survived ice ages, deadly plagues, and natural disasters that would have destroyed most civilizations. "Commander, you need to see this," he called to Sekvor. "The humans call their planet Earth, but their own records show it is incredibly dangerous. Extreme weather, earthquakes, volcanoes, hostile animal life." Commander Sekvor studied the historical information. They fought wars with casualties in the millions and continued fighting. They survived global climate disasters. "How is this possible?" "Sir, I believe we are dealing with a warrior species that has adapted to constant conflict and environmental threats." Meanwhile, psychological analyst Morketh was studying human cultural patterns and social behavior. What she discovered was equally disturbing. According to their cultural records, humans consider conflict and struggle to be normal parts of life, she reported to her commanders. They have phrases like survival of the fittest and what does not kill you makes you stronger. Their entire society appears to be built around overcoming impossible challenges. When Admiral Korthva received these cultural analysis reports, he realized the situation was even more dangerous than the technological reports had suggested. The humans were not just advanced. They were a species that had evolved to thrive in conditions that would kill other life forms. "Sir, what if this is a test?" suggested his aide Vextar. "What if they sent this ship to evaluate our military capabilities?" "That is exactly what I am afraid of," Admiral Korthva replied. On the Soul's Pride, Park Min-ho was still struggling with the energy resonance problem. He had finally discovered how to stop the interaction between the jump drive and the dampening fields. But it required shutting down both systems completely. "Captain, I can fix the energy signature issue," he reported over the ship's communication system. "But we will have to turn off both our stealth systems and the experimental jump drive." "Do it immediately," Captain Lee Hyun ordered. "Maybe when they see our real energy output, they will understand we are not the threat they think we are." But when Park Min-ho shut down the systems, something unexpected happened. without the amplified energy signature hiding their true capabilities. The Soul's Pride's actual specifications became visible to Velkari sensors. Chief Technician Vorthak was monitoring the shutdown procedure when his instruments detected the ship's true construction details. Sir, with their stealth systems offline, I can see their real specifications. What do you see? Asked Commander Velkan. The ship is exactly what they claimed it was. 300 meters long, 50 crew members, minimal weapons. But sir, look at how it is built. Vorthak's detailed analysis revealed that every component of the human ship was constructed to standards far beyond normal requirements. The hull was 3 times thicker than necessary. The reactors were designed to operate at twice their normal capacity. Every system had multiple backup systems. Why would they overbuild everything to this degree? Commander Velkan asked. I do not know, sir. But a ship constructed to these standards could survive almost any battle damage. The inspection teams finally arrived at the Soul's Pride. Commander Velkan led a group of 12 specialists, including engineers, weapons experts, and intelligence analysts. Captain Li Hyun met them at the docking port. He had changed into his formal dress uniform and brought his senior officers with him. Welcome aboard the Soul's Pride, he said with as much dignity as he could manage. We are honored to have you as our first Velkari visitors. Commander Velkan studied the human captain carefully. Li Hyun was smaller than most Velkari, but there was something about his manner that suggested confidence and competence despite the dangerous situation. Captain, we are here to determine whether your vessel represents a threat to the Empire. You will cooperate completely with our inspection. Of course, my crew will answer any questions you have. The inspection began in the engine room, where Park Min-ho was eager to demonstrate how human technology actually worked. This is our main fusion reactor, he explained to Vorthak and the other Velkari engineers. It is designed to operate at 150% of standard output for extended periods. Why do you need such excess capacity? Vorthak asked. Safety and reliability. Our homeworld taught us that equipment fails when you need it most. We build everything with large safety margins. Vorthak examined the reactor design closely. The technology was solid and reliable, but not particularly advanced. It was just built much stronger than most species would consider necessary. Your dampening fields, he said. Why are they so powerful? We designed them to work in high radiation environments and during solar storms. Earth's sun is more active than most stars, so our equipment has to handle more interference. Slowly, Vorthak began to understand. The humans were not using superior technology. They were using normal technology built to handle extreme conditions. In the medical section, Dr. Yoon Haiwan was explaining human medicine to Dr. Rixtal. Most of our treatments focus on supporting the body's natural healing processes, she said. Humans have evolved very effective recovery systems. How effective? Dr. Rixtal asked. We can heal from injuries that would be permanent for most species. Broken bones become stronger after they heal. Damaged organs can partially regenerate. Our immune systems adapt quickly to new diseases. Dr. Rixtal was fascinated. Your species developed these abilities naturally. Yes, Earth is not an easy world to live on. Those who could not adapt to injury and illness did not survive to have children. Meanwhile, Han Ji-woo was showing the Velkari intelligence team examples of human culture and history. We value creativity, learning, and cooperation, she explained. But we also understand that sometimes conflict cannot be avoided. Intelligence analyst Zexmore looked confused. Your historical records show constant warfare, but your culture emphasizes peace. How do you explain this? Han Ji-woo thought carefully before answering. We fight when we must, but we prefer to build and create. War taught us how valuable peace really is. On the bridge, Commander Velkan was examining the Soul's Pride's navigation and communication systems with Kim Sora. These star charts are remarkably detailed, he observed. How did you map so many dangerous regions? Very carefully, Kim Sora replied. We send automated probes first, then follow with heavily protected survey ships. It takes a long time to map areas safely, but the radiation levels in some of these regions should destroy any equipment. Our probes are built to survive almost anything. We have learned to prepare for worst-case scenarios. The first meeting between humans and the Velkari Empire began with confusion that would nearly start a war. Commander Velkan's voice came through the speakers on the Soul's Pride. The translation computer worked hard to change his alien words into something the humans could understand. The meaning was clear enough, but it was not friendly. "Captain, they are demanding we shut down what they call our primary weapon systems," Choi Jae-min reported with worry in his voice. "But I think they mean our navigation shields and communication equipment." Captain Lee Hyun stared at the display showing 12 massive alien warships surrounding his small vessel. Each one could destroy them in seconds. He had to choose his words very carefully. "Tell them we are a peaceful diplomatic mission from Earth," he ordered. "Explain that we have no active weapon systems of any kind." Choi Jae-min worked quickly to translate the message into Velkari. But when he sent the response, something went wrong. The Velkari computers read the human diplomatic codes as advanced military encryption. On the bridge of the lead Velkari ship, Intelligence Officer Raxtel was studying the human transmission with growing suspicion. "Commander, this encryption pattern is more complex than anything we have in our databases. The security protocol suggests this is definitely a military vessel." Commander Velkan felt his concerns grow stronger. A diplomatic ship with military-grade encryption? That makes no sense unless they are lying to us. "Sir, perhaps they are trying to hide their true mission," suggested his weapons officer. Meanwhile, Choi Jae-min was getting frustrated with the communication problems. Every message he sent seemed to make the Velkari more suspicious instead of less. He decided to try a different approach. "Captain, maybe if I reduce power to our communication systems, they will see we are not trying to threaten them." "Try it," Captain Lee Hyun agreed. But when Choi Jae-min lowered the power levels, the changes in the ship's energy output made the Velkari sensors react wildly. The fluctuations looked exactly like a massive weapon system charging up for an attack. "All ships maximum alert," Commander Velkan shouted into his communication system. "The human vessel is powering up weapons." On the Soul's Pride, warning alarms began ringing as the Velkari ships responded by powering up their own weapon systems. "Captain, they are targeting us," Kim Sora reported with panic in her voice. "All 12 ships have weapon locks on our position." Dr. Yoon Hae-won looked terrified. "What did we do wrong?" Captain Lee Hyun tried to stay calm even though his heart was beating fast. "Nothing. This is just a big misunderstanding. We need to show them we are not dangerous." In the engine room, Park Min-ho was still trying to fix the resonance problem between the jump drive and the dampening fields. But every adjustment he made seemed to create new energy patterns that confused the sensors even more. "Captain, I am having serious trouble stopping the resonance," he called through the ship's communication system. "Every time I change something, the energy signature shifts in a different direction." "Keep working on it," Captain Lee Hyun replied. Park Min-ho decided to run a complete diagnostic of all ship systems. Maybe if he showed the Velkari exactly how their technology worked, they would understand that the Soul's Pride was not a weapon. He activated the diagnostic program and broadcast all the technical information on every frequency the ship could transmit. The data included everything: reactor specifications, hull thickness, weapon systems, which were very small, crew quarters, life support, and navigation equipment. But when the Velkari received this flood of technical data, their analysis computers came to a shocking conclusion. On the intelligence ship Shadow's Edge, analyst Zethmore was studying the human technical specifications when he noticed something that seemed impossible. According to the transmitted data, the human ship was generating far more power per unit of mass than any known technology could produce. "This cannot be correct," he said to himself. "No ship this size could generate this much energy." He ran the calculations again and again. The results were always the same. Either the humans were sending false information about their ship's size, or they had developed energy technology that was far beyond anything the Empire possessed. "Sir," he called to Commander Sekvor, "the humans are transmitting false technical specifications. They are trying to convince us their ship is much smaller than it actually is." Commander Sekvor looked at the analysis with confusion. Why would they lie about something we can see with our own sensors? Perhaps they are testing our detection capabilities, seeing how much we can actually measure. Dr. Yoon Hae-won had an idea that she hoped would calm the dangerous situation. "Captain, what if we transmit our complete medical records? If we show them we are just normal people on a peaceful mission, maybe they will understand." "That is a good idea," Captain Lee Hyun agreed. "Choi, prepare biological profiles for our entire crew. Include health records, genetic information, everything we have." Choi Jae-min compiled all the medical data and sent it to the Velkari ships. The transmission included detailed information about human biology, including bone density, muscle efficiency, reaction speeds, and healing capabilities. On the Velkari intelligence vessel, medical analyst Dr. Rixtel received the human biological data and nearly fell out of his chair with shock. "This is completely impossible," he whispered to himself. According to the medical information, humans had bone density almost twice that of normal species. Their muscle fibers were incredibly efficient. Their reaction times were faster than most predatory animals, and their bodies could heal from injuries that would permanently disable other species. Dr. Rixtel had studied alien biology for 40 years. He knew that species with these kinds of physical capabilities usually came from what scientists called death worlds, planets, so dangerous that only the strongest and most adaptable life forms could survive. "Commander, you must see this immediately," he called urgently. When Commander Sekivor read the biological analysis, he felt fear run through his body.
"Are you telling me the humans evolved on a death world?"
"Sir, their home planet must be extraordinarily dangerous. High gravity, intense radiation, hostile climate. Only creatures that developed extreme survival capabilities could live in such conditions. Send this information to Admiral Korthva right away. He needs to understand what kind of species we are dealing with." Back on the Soul's Pride, Park Min-ho was still working desperately to fix the energy resonance problem. He had managed to reduce the amplified signature slightly, but it was still much higher than normal. "I think I need to physically adjust the dampening field generators," he told his assistant. "Young Kiho, can you help me get the hull repair equipment?" Earlier that day, a small piece of space debris had hit their ship's outer hull. The damage was tiny and not dangerous, but Park Min-ho needed to use the repair tools to reach the external dampening field controls. Jung Ki-ho brought the repair kit, and together they put on spacesuits and went outside the ship. The repair work was simple and routine. Humans had been fixing things in the vacuum of space for hundreds of years. They used standard tools, spare parts, and basic engineering techniques to patch the small hole and adjust the equipment. But the Velkari were watching every move through their powerful sensors. Chief Technician Vorthak, on commander. Velkon's ship was monitoring the human repair activities with growing amazement. What he saw made no sense according to everything he knew about technology. "Sir, the humans are performing repairs using techniques I cannot identify," he reported. "It appears they are manipulating matter at the molecular level." "What do you mean?" asked Commander Velkon. "They seem to be using some form of advanced nanotechnology or matter manipulation system. I cannot determine the exact method from this distance, but they are accomplishing repairs that should require major shipyard facilities." Commander Velkon studied the sensor readings carefully. The humans appeared to be using simple hand tools, but they were fixing hull damage with techniques that Velkari engineers could not duplicate. "How is such a thing possible?" "I do not know, sir, but if they can repair battle damage this easily, their weapon systems must be equally advanced." Kim So-ra, trying to reduce the tension, decided to share some human navigation data with the Velkari ships. She thought that if they saw how much humans knew about local space, it would prove they were serious about peaceful exploration. She transmitted detailed star charts showing safe routes through dangerous areas of space. The maps included warnings about radiation fields, unstable stars, and regions where normal ships could not safely travel. When analyst Zethmore received the navigation data, he could not believe what he was seeing. "Sir, the humans have mapped space regions we consider completely inaccessible," he reported to Commander Sekvor. "Look at these charts. They show safe passage routes through the Ket radiation field. We have lost ships trying to explore that area." "How could they have mapped such dangerous regions?" asked Commander Sekvor. "I have no idea, sir. The radiation level should destroy any known sensor technology. Either they have incredible protective shielding, or their detection systems are far more advanced than anything we possess." The final event that convinced the Velkari they were facing a superior species happened when Dr. Admiral Korthva stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Void Hammer. The ship was enormous, built for war and designed to strike fear into enemies. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. The only sounds were the soft hum of computers and the occasional report from officers. "Admiral, Squadron 12 is moving to intercept the human vessel," reported his communications officer. Korthva nodded slowly. He had been fighting wars for 30 years. He could sense when something was dangerous. The humans had always been considered a minor species. Their ships were small and slow. Their weapons were basic. But these new sensor readings changed everything. "Show me the analysis report again," he ordered. The main screen filled with data from Deepwatch 7. The energy signature was unlike anything in their military databases. It suggested technology that the Empire had never encountered before. "Sir, our science teams think the humans might have discovered zero-point energy manipulation," said his aide, Vextar. The young officer looked worried. Zero-point energy. Korthova's eyes narrowed. That kind of power source would make the humans incredibly dangerous. If that is true, we have seriously underestimated them. Meanwhile, on the Soul's Pride, Captain Lee Hyun was becoming more concerned by the hour. Kim Sora had been tracking ship movements throughout the local area, and the pattern was troubling. "Captain, there are definitely vessels changing course to intercept us," she reported from her navigation station. "I count at least 12, possibly more." "Military ships?" asked Lee Hyun. "The energy signatures match heavy cruiser-class vessels, sir." Choi Jae-min looked up from his communications console. His translation computer was working better now that they were closer to Velkari space. "I am getting clearer translations, Captain. They keep using phrases that mean massive threat and unknown weapon system." Dr. Yoon Haiwan looked puzzled. "But we are just a diplomatic mission. Why would they think we are dangerous?" Captain Lee Hyun wished he knew the answer. He had studied everything Earth's intelligence services knew about the Velkari Empire. They were warriors, yes, but they were also reasonable people. They did not usually attack without good reason. "Could there be another human ship in this area?" suggested Kim Sora. "Check our communications logs. See if any other Earth vessels are supposed to be operating near here." Choi Jae-min worked at his console for several minutes, checking databases and communication records. "No, sir. According to our mission briefings, we are the only human ship within 50 light-years of this position." In the engine room, Park Min-ho continued to struggle with the experimental jump drive. The resonance patterns were getting stronger instead of weaker. Every time he tried to adjust the settings, new harmonics appeared. "Computer, explain why the jump drive keeps creating these frequency patterns," he said. "The resonance appears to be caused by harmonic interaction between the jump field, generators, and the hull dampening array," the computer replied in its calm voice. "Is this dangerous to the ship?" "No immediate threat detected. However, the interaction is amplifying certain energy wavelengths by approximately 400%. Park Min-ho scratched his head. 400% amplification meant their energy signature was much stronger than it should be. But that should not matter to anyone. They were not trying to hide from the Velkari. On the Velkari intelligence vessel Shadow's Edge, analyst Zethmore was studying every piece of information they had about the approaching human ship. The more data he analyzed, the more concerned he became. "Commander, I am detecting energy patterns that suggest highly advanced fusion technology," he reported to Commander Sekfor. "Much more advanced than our previous intelligence indicated humans possessed." Sekfor studied the technical readouts. "How much more advanced?" "Sir, if these readings are accurate, the humans have achieved fusion efficiency levels we believed were theoretically impossible. A reactor with this efficiency could power weapons we have never imagined. Send this analysis to Admiral Korthva immediately. He needs to know what we might be facing." Back on the Soul's Pride, the tension was affecting everyone. Dr. Yoon Hae-won had been monitoring stress levels throughout the ship using the medical sensors. Every crew member showed elevated anxiety. "Captain, maybe we should try sending another message," she suggested. "Make it very clear who we are and why we are here." Lee Hyun agreed. "Choi, prepare our complete diplomatic package. Include our mission parameters, crew roster, and cargo manifest. Make it absolutely clear we are here for peaceful contact only." "Yes, sir. Should I use our standard diplomatic transmission codes?" "Yes. And add our complete medical and biological data. Show them we are just normal humans on a peaceful mission." What Captain Lee Hyun did not realize was that normal humans were anything but normal to the rest of the galaxy. Humans had evolved on a planet with higher gravity, more radiation, and more dangerous conditions than most inhabited worlds. This evolutionary pressure had made them naturally stronger, faster, and more resistant to injury than most alien species. Admiral Korthva received Zethmore's intelligence report just as Squadron 12 reached sensor range of the human vessel. The technical analysis made him deeply worried. They have achieved near-perfect fusion efficiency, he told his senior staff. Do you understand what this means, sir? Asked Vextar. It means they can build weapon systems we cannot defend against. Ships we cannot catch, shields we cannot penetrate. If they have made this kind of breakthrough, they are no longer a minor species. On the bridge of the lead interceptor ship, Commander Velkan was getting his first visual look at the human vessel. Through the long-range sensors, it appeared small and unremarkable, but the energy readings told a completely different story. It does not look like much, commented his weapons officer. Neither does a nuclear bomb until it explodes, Velkan replied grimly. Keep all weapon systems ready, but do not target them yet. We need to understand what we are dealing with before we act. The Soul's Pride detected the approaching Velkari ships at almost the same moment the aliens got visual contact. Kimsora's sensor board lit up with proximity alarms. Captain, we have 12 large vessels approaching from multiple vectors, she reported. They are not responding to our communication attempts. What is their formation? Standard military intercept pattern, sir. They are trying to surround us. Captain Lee Hyun felt his heart rate increase. An intercept formation was used for stopping hostile vessels. This was definitely not the friendly greeting he had hoped for. Are their weapon systems active? He asked. I cannot determine their exact status, sir, but they are definitely moving into attack positions. Dr. Yoon Haiwan checked her medical readouts again. The stress levels throughout the ship were climbing rapidly toward dangerous levels. Captain, the crew is becoming very frightened. Maybe we should prepare for emergency procedures. Not yet, Lee Hyun said firmly. We came here to make friends with the Velkari. Let us give them a chance to explain what they want before we assume the worst. Choi Jae-min suddenly looked up from his communication station with alarm. Sir, I am receiving a transmission. It is in Velkari and the computer is translating it now. What does it say? The translation is not perfect, sir, but I believe they are ordering us to surrender our vessel. Surrender? What do they think we have done? I am not sure, sir. The message mentions something about unauthorized weapons and threat to imperial security. Park Min-ho chose that exact moment to call from the engine room. Captain, I think I have discovered the source of our problem. The experimental jump drive is interacting with our hull dampening fields. It is making our energy signature appear much stronger than it actually is. How much stronger? Approximately 4 times normal output, sir. Captain Lee Hyun began to understand what was happening. The Velkari sensors were detecting energy readings that made their peaceful diplomatic ship look like a massive warship. Can you stop the interaction? He asked urgently. I can try, sir, but it will take time to safely shut down both systems. Do it as quickly as possible. But it was already too late. Admiral Korthva had made his decision based on the information available to him. The human ship represented a threat unlike anything the Empire had previously encountered. He could not allow it to continue toward populated Velkari worlds. All ships move to full intercept positions, he ordered over the fleet communication system. If the human vessel attempts to flee or shows any sign of hostile intent, you are authorized to disable it. The Soul's Pride was now completely surrounded by 12 Velkari warships. Each alien vessel was massive compared to the human ship. Their combined firepower could vaporize the Soul's Pride in seconds. Captain Lee Hyun looked at his tactical display and realized they were in extremely serious trouble. Whatever the Velkari believed about his ship, they clearly saw it as a major threat. All stations prepare for possible combat situations, he ordered reluctantly. But remember our mission. We are here to establish peaceful relations. We will not fire first under any circumstances. The irony was now complete. A human ship sent on a mission of peace and friendship was being treated as the most dangerous threat the Velkari Empire had ever encountered. And neither side understood how badly they had misunderstood each other. The warning lights flashed red across the control room of Deep Watch 7. Velthak had seen these lights many times before, but today they made him nervous. Something was wrong with the sensors. Sir, the readings are still impossible, said Mortek, his young assistant. The scales on Mortek's neck were turning pale, which always happened when he was scared. Velthak walked over to the main display screen. Numbers and charts filled the display, but none of them made sense. According to the sensors, something was moving toward their space, something that looked small but felt huge. Show me the energy numbers again, Velthak ordered. The screen changed to show power readings. The computer said a small ship was approaching, maybe 300 meters long, but the energy coming from it was massive. Like a ship 10 times that size. Could it be broken? Asked Mortek, pointing at the sensor array. The sensors are new. Best ones we have, Velthak replied. He had been running this monitoring station for 20 years. He knew when equipment failed, but these machines were working perfectly. The readings showed something impossible. A tiny ship with the power output of a battle station. Sir, should I call Admiral Korthva? Mortek asked. Velthak thought about it. The Admiral was busy with fleet exercises. But if these readings were real, the Admiral needed to know. Yes. Tell him we have a problem. Far away in the darkness of space, the human ship Soul's Pride moved quietly between the stars. Captain Lee Hyun sat in his command chair and looked at the view screen. Stars stretched out in all directions, beautiful and peaceful. The Soul's Pride was not a large ship. Only 300 meters from front to back. It carried 50 people and supplies for 6 months in space. The mission was simple. Find the Velkari Empire and try to make friends. Captain, we are getting close to Velkari space, said Kim So-ra from her navigation station. She was young but very skilled at her job. Should we change course to avoid their patrols? Lee Hyun shook his head. No. We came here to meet them. Let them see us coming. In the engine room deep inside the ship, Park Min-ho was checking his instruments. The fusion reactors were running smoothly. The new dampening fields were working just like the engineers on Earth had promised. These dampening fields were supposed to hide their ship from enemy sensors during wartime. But Min-ho had noticed something strange in the past few days. Instead of hiding their energy signature, the field seemed to be making it stronger. That is odd, he said to himself. He made a note to check the system later. Right now everything was working fine. The Soul's Pride continued toward Velkari space. Captain Lee Hyun had read everything Earth knew about the Velkari. They were warriors, but they were also fair and honest. If humans could prove they wanted peace, the Velkari might become good allies. Back on Deep Watch 7, more warning lights started flashing. Velthak felt his stomach drop as he saw the new readings. Sir, the energy signature is getting stronger, Mortek reported. His voice was shaking. Whatever that thing is, it is moving fast. Faster than our best warships. That cannot be right. Humans do not have ships that fast. The computer says it is definitely human, sir. But the power readings, I have never seen anything like this. Velthak stared at the numbers on his screen. According to the sensors, the approaching ship was using fusion drives, basic technology that most species had abandoned centuries ago. But the energy output suggested something far more advanced. On the Soul's Pride, communications officer Choi Jae-min was listening to radio signals from nearby space. He could hear Velkari voices talking, but their language was difficult to understand. The computer was trying to translate their words. Captain, I am picking up radio chatter from ahead of us, Choi Jae-min reported. They sound excited about something. Can you tell what they are saying? Not exactly, sir. But I keep hearing words that might mean large vessel and unknown threat. Captain Lee Hyun looked concerned. They had sent messages ahead to let the Velkari know they were coming. This was supposed to be a peaceful first meeting, a chance to start trade between Earth and the Velkari Empire. Dr. Yoon Hai-won looked up from her medical computer. She had been studying Velkari biology to prepare for first contact. Maybe they are talking about someone else? I hope so, said Lee Hyun. The truth was much simpler than anyone realized. The Soul's Pride was built using human engineering principles. On Earth, everything had to be strong enough to survive disasters. Earthquakes, storms, radiation, equipment failures, anything could happen. So humans built their ships to handle twice the stress they normally faced. The hull was thick enough to survive asteroid impacts. The reactors could run at twice their normal power if needed. Every system had backup systems, and those had backups too. When Velkari sensors looked at the Soul's Pride, they saw all this extra strength and power. Their computers tried to understand what they were seeing. A ship this powerful had to be enormous. A ship with this much energy had to be a warship. But the computers were wrong. They had never encountered human engineering before. Admiral Korthva was reviewing fleet reports when he received the emergency message from Deep Watch 7. The admiral was old and experienced. He had commanded fleets for 30 years and won every battle he fought. A human ship with the energy signature of a battle station? He said to his aide. That changes everything we know about human capabilities. Sir, what should we do? Asked the aide. Send Squadron 12 to intercept. tell them to be very careful. If the humans have built something like this, they might have other surprises waiting for us. Back on the Soul's Pride, Park Min-ho was running more diagnostics on the experimental jump drive. This new technology was supposed to let them travel faster between stars. The tests were going well, but the drive was creating strange resonance patterns. These resonance patterns bounced off the dampening fields in unexpected ways. To human sensors, it just looked like background noise, but to Velkari sensors, it looked like the energy signature of a massive battle cruiser. "Captain, we have officially entered Velkari space," Kim Sora announced from her navigation station. "Any response to our messages?" asked Lee Hyun. Choi Jae-min shook his head. "Nothing official, sir. But the radio chatter is getting much louder." I think I heard the word fleet several times. Dr. Yoon Hae-won felt nervous. She had read about Velkari culture. They were proud warriors who respected strength above all else. But they were also known to be honorable and fair. "Maybe they are sending an escort to guide us to their homeworld." "Maybe," said Lee Hyun. But he was beginning to worry. On Deep Watch 7, Velthak watched as 12 Velkari warships changed course toward the human vessel. Each ship was twice the size of anything humans were known to possess. They carried enough weapons to destroy a small moon. "Sir, should I continue monitoring the human ship?" asked Mortek. "Yes, and record everything. If the humans really have developed some kind of superweapon, Command will want to know how it works." Velthak looked at his sensors one more time. The energy readings were still impossible. According to his instruments, that small human ship was generating more power than some space stations. Either the humans were lying about their ship's size, or they had made a breakthrough in technology that would change everything. The Soul's Pride moved deeper into Velkari space. Captain Lee Hyun had no idea that his peaceful diplomatic mission was being seen as the greatest threat the Empire had ever faced. Behind his ship, 12 alien warships were closing in. Each one was ready for battle against what they thought was humanity's secret superweapon. The biggest misunderstanding in the history of the galaxy was about to begin.